Hello and welcome back, fantasy football losers, to yet another stellar episode of the RZW Smackdown, this time of the Week 5 review variety. Jay, I know none of these chumps would ever admit to it, but this 15 minutes of fantasy smack talk gold is no doubt the highlight of their collective pathetic weeks, something they look forward to and cannot live without. So Jay, let's give the people what they want.
All right, well, what they want is me and not you, because as you always try to say, you're the people's champion. I know the Facebook page tells the truth. The people want change, and I will give you change, people.
Huh.
I will give you change. So, anyway, week in review. Well, we'll start off with me and Jim's little tryst we had here. What can I say? I mean, look, the Jimmer, he put up a staunch resistance to the rock pile. But in the end, he did what so many others do in his place, and he lost. Of course, starting the elite Joe Flacco, he was probably feeling extra confident going into this week, not to mention playing rockpile cast-off Bishop Sankey, who put up a solid 2.7 points. I'm going to go ahead and say that most of the blame can probably be laid at the feet, or, well, the ankle, rather, of Calvin Johnson, who for the second week in a row put up only one catch. Hey, Jimmer, how's Brian Quick looking?
86.1, Raj. 86.1. Does that number ring a bell? No? Okay, well, how about 195.5? Anything? Anything at all? Okay, well, let me jog your memory. 195.5 was the point total of my juggernaut, first place, and highest points of the league team dropped on your dainty, girly chumpettes this past week. And 86.1 was the point differential between our teams, hands down the largest point differential of the year, and just maybe the largest point differential in the history of the Red Zone Warriors Fantasy Football League. Boom! Oh, my Lord, Jay. I would have beat the champion this week playing a grand total of 3 of my 10 players. Yes, only 3 is what it would have taken to beat the champion this week. You know, Raj, karma's a bitch. You should have taken the Chump Cup like a man.
Like a man. Should have taken it like a man. Yes. All right, let's move on to Dave's cruise control and his victory over the worst team in the league thus far. Yes, even worse than Raj's chumpettes. And that would be Brad's AJ Unchained, who is now 1-4 and has the least points scored in the league. Well, Dave had a good performance this week out of the likes of Arian Foster, Julius Thomas, Alshon Jeffrey, and Julio. Andrew Luck and old man Antonio Gates even put up respectable numbers. And his kicker, Nick Folk, put up a goose egg in this one. Commish, proof yet again that no Jet, and I mean no Jet, is worth a roster spot. No, not even the pathetic kicker.
Not even the pathetic kicker. True that, Jay, true that. We're going to move on to the big bitch fest battle of the week in the vagina division. Jay shockingly won by the biggest bitch of the league, and that would clearly be the not-so-functioning Falcoholics, who, Jay, if you listen really, really closely, you can probably hear that Hamburglar destroying some all-you-can-eat buffet somewhere in an attempt to battle a hangover of which he is inflicted after gulping down that second Zima that really put him over the top last night. Jay, Ryan's team let him down yet again this week, with the only one deciding to show up and play some football being one Mr. Vincent Jackson, which was a rare surprise in and of itself. But it wasn't enough to battle back from Scott's stellar kicker play, scoring him the third highest point total of his team this week with a whopping 21 points.
21 points. Yeah. All right, well, kids, It looks like bootleg fireworks can be dangerous. Just look at what happened to Eric's kicker-heavy team when he played with a sparkler. Eric, welcome to your first of many losses, my friend. Deldre, dude, whatever you do, make sure you get a fruit basket out to Larry Donnell today. Right now, dude, you cannot afford to have him lay any more eggs after this week, considering you have to play 2 Nomad Division opponents in the next few weeks, and one of them being this guy. And Larry Donnell or no, buddy, when you play me, you're going down.
It's going down. All right, Jay, let's move ahead to this week's matchups. And how could I not start with, well, my matchup? And Jimmer. You know, you just can't feel confident this week locking horns with not only the reigning Red Zone Warriors champion, but also the current first-place team in the league that also has the highest point total in the league and also is the team that has never lost a single game to the Whore Island Asshats in the 4 previous meetings over the past 2 years. Those stats cannot breed confidence, Jay. They just can't breed confidence.
Asshats. I like it. Jim, your team name is now the Whore Island Asshats, officially. That's going to have us move on to my matchup with Dave. Mr. Dave, who is in Europe, too busy to set his lineup because he's getting married. Congratulations, by the way, on your nuptials. But, well, Mr. Griswold, I hate to interrupt your nice little European vacation here, but this week is going to be the absolute lowlight of your trip, despite your wedding day. Because I'm bringing the pain. Get ready for the pain, Dave. Because that is what is coming.
The next matchup this week is my year is inching closer and closer to over versus Team Trainwreck and Raj's merry band of chumpettes, who should actually win easily in this one, as both of Ryan's best players, Drew Brees and Jimmy Graham, are on bye week this week, which is just the sort of fortune the champion will need to possibly get his, well, second win of the season.
Pick it up, Raj. Pick it up. You got to beat the Vegas division bitch this week. All right, well, let's move on to the riveting matchup between Black Sparkler and Scotty's newly named Team Zima. I have to give the Pink Sparklers the edge here on this one, Kamish. Eddie Lacy has finally gotten back on track, and of course, he does have beast mode. And Russell Wilson, who's looking like Bart Starr out there, while Team Zima has lost his best running back by far, Rashad Jennings, to an MCL sprain, thus having to start Mr. 2-yard Picari Old Man Steven Jackson. And Scott, if you think the projections are right and Dez is going to score 20 points on the Seahawks, in Seattle no less, you're sadly mistaken, my friend. Sadly mistaken. So our advice to you, Mr. Hamburglar, is to cozy up next to a chilled 6-pack of Zima this Sunday that you will obviously share 4 of with your wife as you prepare for yet another ass beating.
Yet another ass beating. Jay, lastly, we have Robbie Golden the Fifth versus currently the worst team in the league, AJ Unchained, off the proverbial rails in truth, who is completely depleted at running back this week, with Ryan Matthews and Reggie Bush likely out for this one, having to start the likes of Darren, I can't play because of my hangnail McFadden this week. You know, Jay, this one is looking like a real snooze fest. A real snooze fest.
What? Huh?
Yeah,
oh, sorry.
Exactly. Well, that's it for this week, ladies. So until we come back next week and discuss all your losses and pathetic starts of the week, we are out.
Fantasy, fantasy, football, fantasy, 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 football, fantasy.
Like an end zone that ends in a waterfall.
A shower that showers you in tiny footballs.
It's a football fantasy like no other.
Like having a best friend that's your quarterback brother. Fantasy, fantasy, football, fantasy, 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 football, fantasy. If you like football, then you like fantasy, fantasy, football.